Come with us, go with us to the Marianna Caverns in Marianna, Florida. As my good friend would say at the Crafty Crow, we're going to have a good day, we're going to have a good time, we're going to get out there and explore and see some history. I've been there several times actually, and I love this old gift shop and the brick motif it has going on. The cave tours are about an hour long, and it has been raining a little bit, but they say that's okay. And then yeah, there's a lot of it's beautiful caverns down here in Marianna, Florida. So you come, you pay $5 for the parking, and then you buy like a $11 ticket, and you can get on a tour. So tours happen every 30 minutes or so, and hopefully we'll be able to embark on one pretty soon. But we're at the Marianna Florida Caverns in Marianna, Florida.
Now this room right here, this is what we do call the transition room. I'll give you a few minutes, let your eyes get adjusted for, you know, being dim in here. This ceiling here, we'll put a knot on my head at least once a day, still.
Cause lacerations too when you got no padding.
I've got a scar up here to prove that on one area. Now I'm gonna start all that right now. Now right down this path, this little ceiling back here on behind me, it does hang over it. Y'all please watch yourself right there.
I got a question.
Yes.
So the green vegetation in here, is that from the lights, or is there enough light coming in from the door?
Well, now that real dark green, that is algae, but the plant is ferns. Whenever they throw their spores out, either it gets on our clothes and we bring it inside, or it gets on the bats and they bring it inside. But it only grows right in front of one of the floodlights. And these are soft LED lights for it's putting out a UV rays. And
So
they're
that's
growing.
what allows it to stay green.
Oh, they'll stay green all year.
But I mean, it's the lights that are giving
yeah.
the photosynthesis.
Yeah, I pull them up, 2 days later, they sprout again. So, I quit doing that. Got tired of crawling back there getting them. Now this room right here, this is what we do call our entry room. Now right back in here where Mr. Jinx is home, this spot back here where that blue light is at, this is called the basement. It's gonna give you an idea about how deep it will be at times. From the floor of that basement up to the surface is 60 feet. You will be as close as 15 feet in one of the rooms. Once we get in there, I'll let you know, because we are going up and down quite a bit. Now, the way the cave itself got started, it was many years ago. All of Florida was covered underneath the warm, shallow sea. Today, that water is known as the Gulf of Mexico. It used to be all the way up into here. So you are actually standing underneath the floor of the Gulf. Now, most of the animals back then that lived here lived in a shell. So as it died, the shell would sink. The tides would come in. It would cover it up with sand, crushed up coral, more shell. Plus the way the water on top of it, it started packing everything in real tight. Almost a perfect ingredient for concrete. Then as this water started to back off, the sun started baking it. All this stuff got turned into our limestone. Now back then there was a lot of acid rain because of a lot of volcanic activity. So as this stuff did get rained on, the water started seeping through it, came all the way down to the bedrock that it was sitting on. Then that acidic water started dissolving the underside of this limestone. Eventually a river started flowing through here. This is what carved out the rest of the cave. Now this next room we're going to, it is going to be a small one. It's the smallest room we got down here. We are going to be taking right at a 3/4 mile walk. The cave itself is 5 square miles big. So we are going through a tiny portion of it. This walkway behind me to go to that next room, it does live up to its name. It is called the tuck and squeeze. It's only 4 foot high, a little over 2 foot wide. Take you about 5 seconds to go through it, and that'll be it. You better duck down real low there, buddy. Other than that, other areas, the ceiling will be a little bit low, but you won't have to go through another spot like this after this one. Y'all please watch yourself going through.
Ooh, that was a tight squeeze.
Oh, you are beautiful. No, really, you are. You're gorgeous. Look at that.
Here a year. We had one about 4.5 months ago. Now to get married in here, it will cost you a whopping $50. That is it. You cannot argue with that price. Right up here where I'm at, this is where the preacher would be. There's a step right below. That's where the couple would stand. We allow up to 25 members of the wedding party back here where you are. Now, like I said, for the price you can't beat it, the room is already uniquely decorated for you. So we're going to get started with the ceiling. Now, right up here in the front, all this stuff is sort of a beigeish brown. But back here in the back, it'll turn into a grayish white. Now, this is different minerals. I'll tell you about those in the next room. But these tiny little formations are called soda straws. They are hollow and very fragile. Now the way these things are starting to grow, as it does rain outside, it will take this water anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to make its way through the limestone before it gets into the cave. As it's making that journey, it's collecting the minerals. This water will come to the ceiling as a little drop. Some of that minerals get hooked to it. And as that drop water falls, another one comes in right behind it. It will do the same thing. Through a long period of time, it does form our little hollow straws. Now, through a number of years, these straws will get clogged up from the minerals. And when that happens, the water will start to seep around the outside of it to make it grow. That's when it turns itself into a stalactite, just like these bigger ones we got right up in here. Now, as that water is going around it, as it comes to that point, hits the floor, still has minerals, it starts forming your stalagmite. Now, through many, many years of growth, as these two formations are growing, they will grow into each other. When that happens, it turns itself into a column, just like this one right here beside me. So, a really, really long time ago, this big old column started life as one of these tiny little soda straws. In the next room, I'll give you an idea about how long it took this thing to grow as big as it has. Now, over here on the other side, this wall, this is what we call cave draperies. We got a bunch of them down there, got a few of them right here. But these are also known as angel wings, bat wings, elephant ears, or pig ears. Now, as this water is coming through, with the angle of this wall, instead of falling to the floor, it trickles down the wall. That leaves all the minerals behind. Our cave draperies are some of the fastest growing formations we have in here. But again, it does take these things a pretty good while. Any questions? All right, now this room right here, this is known as our fracture room. But on the original map of the cave, while they was down here, they called it the Donald Duck Room. This is why. In 1937, this is when the CCC came down here to excavate the floor so we could walk on it. Had a lot of World War I veterans working for them. The vets actually named each room that we'll be going through from a formation that they seen and what it reminded them of. Now, when they got into here, Disney had just created Donald Duck. We do have a duck in this room. It is a natural formation, too. We named him Donald. And that's him right up here on his little perch. That is our little duck.
Oh, there it is.
And I will show you different body parts down here, too. But this is how this room got its name, is that duck.
Wow.
I remembered it this time. I forgot it yesterday. Yeah, right there.
Pointer.
Believe it or not, this thing comes in handy in here at times. All right, this, like I said, is how the room got the name, but for educational purposes, we have called it the fracture room. If you look right back here in the top, the column has been broke apart. Now the formations in here is fragile as glass. It really don't take a whole lot to break it. You are standing feet above another cave system. It's about 22 feet below you right now. It is our aquifer. This is where Jackson County gets a lot of its drinking water from. So the more rain we have, this aquifer will stay full all the time. So if we start going through a long drought, plus the usage of the water, this water table does start to drop. And sometimes when that happens in here, the floor you're standing on, it will shift. There'll be such a very, very slight shift, you might not even know it happened. But it will put enough pressure on some of the columns in here that they will start to snap in half.
So how big was the gap yesterday?
About a hair. Now that gap's been there, Lord. I am the rock the dirt comes from. I've been coming down here since 1958. And it's been in that spot right there all the time. Probably about 19,000 years from now, it'll grow back. If you don't believe me, come back and see me. I'll be here doing tours.
You got a date.
Now, we do have 3 different minerals coming through this ceiling. Back here in the back, up top, that white and the gray color. This is called calcite. Now, right here on the left, this murky-looking brown column, this is called manganese. And right up there in the ceiling is iron, that rust color. That is the 3 main colors that you will see down here. Now, a geologist believes the cave is between 33 to 36 million years old. That is relatively young for a cave, too. This is how they showed us. We can show you how fast things grow down here. This little piece of limestone, it is right at a cubic inch big. Now, if you was to crush it up into, a really, really fine powder, 100 years to grow this much back. But you do have to keep in mind, though, all the powder out of this little piece of stone does have to go over the whole formation first. So we do have some in here, such as our cave draperies. It will be grown at an alarming rate of maybe a human hair thick, in height and width, every 200 to 400 years. The column I showed you in the waiting room, to get a human hair thick, all the way around from top to bottom, between 2,000 to 4,000 years. Like I said, I've been coming down here since 1958. I haven't seen nothing grow yet. I'm just patiently waiting for that one to happen.
What are you in cave years?
Probably 2. Now the floor is man-made. That's why it does look like a brain. Back in '42 when we opened up for business, most of the people back then wore hard-soled shoes. This floor looked like it was a stucco, like a real rough sandpaper to keep the people from slipping. This is the traffic we've been having come through here through the years. We have wore down smooth. And cement on the floor is the only place they was allowed to put cement. Whenever they put electrical lines in here for the lights, they had to cover up all that stuff with the mud off the cave floor. And you can see right where it goes too. I do have a collection of this mud in one of the rooms because I also do the cave maintenance down here. Because it does dry hard as concrete, but it will start to fall out. And if it does, I just mix me up a little batch and go put it up there and keep on going. Any questions? Now I'm going to show you one little item in here, but I'm not going to tell you about it though till we get to the next room. That's because I can't explain it just a little bit better. And that's that bowl right there in the ceiling. It is up there for a reason. I even had a lady ask me if that was a skylight before. I said, no ma'am, there's 40 foot of rock on the other side of that thing. And I asked her, I said, where are you from? California? I just thought to myself, that explains it. No ma'am, that is not a skylight. Now going to the next room so I can't explain what that is. Just around this corner, on your left side, there's a formation coming straight out over the walkway. Listen real careful there, buddy. It's called the head knocker. Some of y'all, as short as you are, buddy, you ain't even going to worry about none of it. You might get bumped on top of the head. The rest of y'all, it will slap you right square.
Turn the lights off, please.
Who asked me that?
Right. Well, so back in the day, they used to just sort of fast do it for a minute.
Yeah. This is the only room we can do that in now. Before, with all the control boxes you see with the buttons on it, we could do it in any room. But since Michael, this is the only room we can do that. Okay, y'all find you a spot and stand real still. Because I'm fixing to show you what a bat will see in here at the end of the day. True darkness. Anybody afraid of the dark in here? Because if you are, suck it up, buttercup. Because it is gonna get dark. This is what a bat sees also while the men was in here working. If that lamp they had on their hat went out, this is what they was looking at. I call it nothing. That's because you don't see nothing. While the lights are off, I will give you a little illustration. That way I can explain the bowl. I'll turn my house lights off first. Then I will kill my flashlight. Y'all ready? Here it goes. Bingo. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. Y'all have a good day now. I can find my way out of here in the dark because I've done it. But I won't do that to you. Now here's my little illustration. See how much light this little big lighter's putting out? Not a whole lot. This is actually all the light that the men had when they was down here swinging that pickaxe off that lamp on their hat. Now here's the story about the bowl. Now that lamp was a carbide lamp. Sometimes a slight jar, the thing would go out. And you seen what they was looking at. Now they had a rope tied to them in case it happened. All they had to do was just reach behind them, grab a hold of it. They followed it back to our discovery room. That's where they got lamps fixed. They come back here and go back to work. Now down in the kitchen, they fed the men out of these white porcelain china bowls. One of the men did get ingeniously smart. He brought one down here. He mounts it up in the wall, up in the ceiling. Then he put a nail on each side of that bowl into the limestone. Then he hung an oil lamp on each nail. The light coming off of both those lamps reflected so bright off that white bowl that it lit up the whole room. We have 64 of them in the ceiling from the front door to the back door. Every bowl that you see is the original bowl they put up there in 1937. We don't even touch them because we're afraid that the metal part has done rusted away. The only thing that's left up there is just that porcelain. If you try to clean it, it just crumbles. Whenever I told that lady that, she went, "Oh, okay." She probably still didn't know what I was talking about. I'm sorry. If you're blind, it's nothing against y'all, but this woman was just as blonde as the day was long, too. I mean, she had a long blonde root in her head. Now, going to the next room, you will be walking through the only man-made hallway that's in this cave. It's a little bit low, not like the tuck and squeeze, but it is down a little bit, so do watch your heads. But this walk right here behind me is going at an angle down. Please stay to the right side. The left side is slippery because there is a formation trying to grow up off the floor. So just stay to the right. The room is probably ankle deep. During daytime, we're not allowed to take people through water. So the other guys seeing that post there, they know that it's wet, they can't go in. If it's dry, I have it over here, we take everybody in there. VIP tours on weekends. There is one little drawback. This water also contains magnesium. Y'all, if you take a little mouthful of that water today, you will be sitting on the toilet the next day. Because it will clean you out real fast. I could make a killing off the water down here. Especially going for a colonoscopy, but they won't let me do it.
Probably doesn't take as much as it used to get it for.
No, it wouldn't either. And that stuff you drink for that is nasty. Ugh. Okay. Now this room right here, they even documented all this. This flowstone formation that's right in the middle of the floor. This one back over here in the corner. There was a lot of water flowing over both of them. All those little cascading rimstone pools on those things, and over here on the other side, that all of it was full of water. Not even seen it like that. Now some of the men have been to Niagara Falls. If you've ever seen pictures of it, as the water's going over the edge, that white spray that's coming up from the bottom. This is what this stuff reminded them of. So they gave this room the name, the waterfall room. Now this one right here in the middle of the floor, if you're a Star Wars fan, on the left side, when it gets real wet, it looks just like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. So we gave that formation the nickname Jabba. Now if you remember, I did tell you that this cave is very much alive. Show you what line to you. Mother Nature loved this place so much that she actually gave it its own heart. Has a little bit of a dying off algae on the right side of it, but this is the heart of our cave right back here. And as soon as I can find the town, I will get in here and get it cleaned off without harming the formation. I've got it figured out how to do that. Very carefully. Very carefully, and just trying to find the time to do it. But
I'm
this
gonna ask you when you get your maintenance, when you do your tour.
if it's not the people I work for here, it's the park. They become Mr. Lou. Be there in a minute. Here I come. I like doing it anyway. I'm 22 years retired, working on drilling rigs offshore in Louisiana. It's fishing money.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Now this little walkway behind me is called the Enchanted Forest. The reason we do call it that is it has every formation that's in this entire cave system in this short little walkway. Now I would like to give you a word of warning, especially the kids. Y'all listen to me real carefully. Right as you start to walk in here, on the left, there's a drop off. This one's not bad, it's about 2.5 foot. Down the other end, there's another one. This one is about a 20-foot slide. Y'all be real careful going through it. If you happen to trip and go down that one in the back, I will go down there and get you. I've had to do that before. So y'all be real careful. Taller people in the back, listen up. I'm gonna pick on you, buddy. And all the rest of you adults. We do have a lot of stalagmites growing out of this ceiling. Some of them are hanging down pretty low, especially down the other end. A few of them have been broken off, so they are very jagged and real sharp. You can put a 2-inch gash in your head. Then I'd have to send you to the hospital and get your head stitched up. Y'all please watch yourself going through. Kids, y'all watch your step. Now this room right here is called the Discovery Room, because it was the first one found. Also, this room actually holds the original entryway into the cave when the men came down here to work. Right up this pathway back here. If you follow that little rock wall at the very top, you will see a bunch of boulders up there. Once we open up for business, people start sneaking in here at night and breaking formations off of souvenirs. So we had to put a stop to it, and we just put a bunch of big boulders up there to keep them out. Now, when we got the property, this was during the Great Depression. The gentleman who owned it back then, his last name was Patterson. He was a doctor here in town, but he also had a good-sized farm. Now, there's a portion of his land, there was nothing but rock, swamp, cave on it. He could not grow nothing else. So he got with the state to see if they would like to have the deed to this piece of property because of the cave, so enough state park cave to it, which we did say yes. Now, we did get it turned down a few times trying to get a grant to build a road into here because of the depression. Finally, one day we did get that money. But up in Washington, D.C., there's a gentleman, his name was Oliver Shalapo. He worked for the National Park Service. He had caught wind about us. And he figured if there's one cave, there's got to be another one. We do 2 tours, make them twice the money. So he came down here to take a look. One day he was walking on top of this hill right here that we're under. And by the way, this is where you're closest to the surface until you walk out of here. It's 15 feet, right above you. Mr. Shalapo found that hole up there. So he got a lamp, he came inside, he seen this room back here. He ventured further back. This little room here, these 2 walk here, he's went further back each way. He crawled out and told the men, forget that other one. This is the one I want you to work on. We are glad he made that decision, because the other one is known as our Indian cave. And we do know that the Paleo Indians lived in it, because they did leave behind a lot of artifacts. Pottery, stone tools, weapons, drawings on the wall. actually see what campfires used to be. Later on also, we found out that that cave is housing the endangered Florida gray bat. So they put bars in front to keep the people out, but the bats can still fly in and out as they want to. Now, when the men came down here to work, they worked for $1 a day, $30 a month. That's all they made. During the Depression, that was a lot of money to buy groceries for your family. Now, remember I told you they had a rope tied to them in case that light would go out? That's where all the ropes are tied to. It's a dead stalagmite. That's why it's dead. That's why we say, please don't touch it. This is where they would come back to if that lamp was to go out. Now, we do know it was taller because you can see where it's been broke off here on the top of it. We figured it's about this high. So now this stalactite right here, instead of meeting it halfway, it's gonna have to grow all the way down to the floor to meet it. Yeah, working down here, not only I train you to be a tour guide, but you turn into an archaeologist, geologist, paleontologist, science teacher, and paramedic.
Don't forget to sign.
And I'm gonna take you to the movies in here. How many of y'all has ever seen the movie The Titanic? You have to wait a minute. Now, when the men got into here, some of the veterans, they got stationed over in Europe, and they seen a whole lot of cathedrals. So they walked into this one, they seen our Twin Tower Cathedral back here. Does have windows going all the way down it too. A lot of kids do tell me though, it looks like two upside down vanilla ice cream cones, which it pretty much does. Now, you have seen the heart of my cave, showed you that it was alive. I'm gonna let you know that this cave is also very, very smart. It does have a brain. My boss thinks it belongs to me sometimes, but me and her butt heads all the time. That's the brain of our cave up there in the ceiling, there in the back, right there. That is an iron mineral. Now here's my science teaching. Y'all see my diamonds sparkling back there? You know what's causing that? Us. See, your body temperature is 98.6. When you exhale, that wind, that air is real moist now. Warm, rises to the top. It's this cool rock, it turns into moisture. We have these little water droplets. Have y'all felt a drop of water hit you since you've been in here?
Yep.
It's not coming from this. This water will evaporate. Water that you felt drop on you is called a cave kiss. That's water coming through the limestone. That means my cave is glad you're down here. If you haven't been dripped on yet, you might better watch out where you're going. Thought you might be. Now, if you watch my little movie screen right back here where my laser's pointing at, this is where I'm going to start my movie, and it will be a motion picture too. And right there is my Titanic. And yes, I did have a lot of time on my hands down here. Okay? So now I turn my projector on, and the Titanic is floating across the Atlantic. Leonardo DiCaprio is chasing that girl all around the ship. Now, if you remember in the movie, when it hit the iceberg and it started to sink, the orchestra went outside, they continued playing. That was to keep all the people calm. Every one of those men did lose their life on the ship. So if y'all be kind enough to say goodbye to them, because the Titanic is going to slowly sink back down the bottom of the Atlantic again. Down she goes. Hey, Brad. Would have popcorn, but I forgot it. Now, in 1942, when we opened up for business, they came in from the other end. This is where we're going to be walking out. This little pathway we're fixing to take does have an angle to it. With the humidity in here, this floor does stay wet quite a bit. Y'all please be careful going up it, because when we first opened up, they would slip going down it. And I have seen people slip going up it. So y'all please be careful. And if you are tall, we do have some good sized stalactites back here. But if you stay between these two bigger ones, you won't bump your head on anything.
Okay.
full-grown bass. We do have another one in a couple more rooms. That one's a lot closer, you can see him better.
So is this a bit,
Eastern peppercorn. This is the gray color. The other one in the other room, he's a tricolor brown. That's the two flavors that they come in.
so they're not hibernating?
No, but they are camera hogs too. And one lady thought they was vampire bats. I said, no, honey. Ain't a vampire bat. In a way it is because they do eat mosquitoes.
Vampires out there, mosquitoes eat you.
It is really narrow.
That's the head knocker right there.
Yeah.
Everybody made it through alive? Yeah, I'm batting 1,000 today. Somebody's already done hit their head. Did a tour in there last summer. She was flying around there. I was seeing her. She landed right here in my pocket. She just hung there and looking at me. So I slowly turned around and told everybody, I said, everybody, this is Abigail, my girlfriend. So I stuck my hand back in my shirt and kind of tapped her a little bit, and she flew off and went right back to her hole. We don't touch them in here. If you do have one land on your flesh, you will have to go through a series of rabies shots. And plus, we'll have to find that bat and make sure that the germs off our skin and can't kill them. So we take all precautions by our little animals down here, except for the snakes. I just wrap around my neck until we get out of the cage. Non-venomous, just rat snake, oak snake, ringneck, scarlet king snakes, black racers, and black snakes. The racers, those suckers are hard to catch, but they are quick. Now, we don't know why they left this thing right here in the middle of the walkway. They did. We named it. This is our hanging chandelier. Now, you can walk on either side. Right behind it, it'll take a right turn. The ceiling will come back down pretty quick again. Y'all please watch yourself right there. Now, as much as I hate to say it, this is what we call the exit room. Now, this ceiling right behind me in front of the door, it is lower than that door. Y'all be careful going at it. Going up the walkway on your left, there's two ledges hanging over at an angle. You can grab your head and your shoulder. Y'all please be careful with those. So I'd like to thank you very, very much for coming out and seeing us today. Kids, I'm glad you got to see a couple of my little bats, because I do love seeing them down here.
You enjoy that?
Yeah, that's cool.
You liked it?
It's hot.
That's beautiful too. Look at that. You imagine being those first explorers and
The Indian tried to look in.
is this where your gold is stored, Mighty Burger? Okay guys, I have lost inside the cave. Don't pay attention to the people talking. I can hear them, but I can't find them, guys. I'm gonna have to climb out of here. This is not... Hey guys, I hope y'all had a great time here at the Marianna Caverns. I always known them as the Marianna Caverns, but they call them the Florida Caverns State Park. But I had a great time here, hanging out with y'all, showing y'all all the caves. I've come here many times over the years, but it's good to come here with the family as they've gotten older. The kids have gotten older, they can appreciate it more. It's like an educational experience for them and me. And Lou was our guide. Lou was awesome. He was very informative and funny, and he had a great time. We had a great time with him. And I love the museum here, and I love all the trails that they have. They have a really great souvenir shop as well. You'll see some pictures and awesome things during this video, and I hope y'all enjoyed that as well. But I had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. Y'all have a blessed day, and y'all see you next time. If you ever get down to Marianna, Florida, or anything close to it, go out of your way, guys. Call ahead to see if they're open. But it's not that expensive, and it's a great educational, awesome experience to come out and explore the caves. And it's very weird to think about the CCC workers back in the 30s working on the caves, clearing them just with oil lamps in the dark, feeling themselves around, trying to get, it's just amazing to think about all the prehistoric man, tromping through these swamps. And all the different Spaniards and all the different people who've come through these systems, before us, and it's pretty cool. So, y'all check out the Marianna Caverns whenever you get a chance, guys. I hope y'all had a good time. Like I said, I know I'm rambling, I'm tired. I got to get something to eat or drink. Get me a cold drink. If you want to give me a cold drink, you want to donate a cold drink, look at the description below, and there's a link down there. Buy me a cold drink. Whew, I can use one right now. Y'all have a great day. See you next time. God bless.